It's the story. It's the story of a prosecutor who defended our freedoms and had Maryland's back when we needed it most. And now, MVP, we've got your back as well. That's right. It's my fellow veteran, my brother, and the next Vice President of the United States, Tim Walz. And now, Tim knows that in the military, you count the days towards mission completion. So guess what, y'all? We have got 75 days and a wake-up until Election Day. 75 days and a wake-up for us to prove what Americans can do when the pressure is on. 75 days and a wake-up for us to show that true patriots do not whine and complain. We put our heads down and we get to work. 75 days and a wake-up to build a future that those who came before us hope for, and those who come after us that they deserve. And 75 days and a wake-up to elect a leader who is willing to believe in the best of us, and that leader is Kamala Harris, the next President of the United States. Thank you, God bless you, and let's leave no one behind.
Whoa. Let me ask you something. After the last 2 days, aren't you proud to be a Democrat? And I am very grateful to the Republicans and independents that have joined us, have been up here on the stage, and I hope they feel better about it now. Because I've seen all these things that even I have to be reminded of from time to time when I get my spirits down. I love seeing the Obamas here. I love seeing President Biden. And I thought Hillary gave a great speech, too. And I love seeing all these young leaders. A bunch of them are coming up after me. They look better, they sound better, and they'll be exciting. I do want to say one word about President Biden. Remember, he had an improbable turn that made him president. And we were in the middle of a pandemic and an economic crash. He healed our sick and put the rest of us back to work. And he strengthened our alliances for peace and security. He stood up for Ukraine. He's trying desperately to get a ceasefire in the Middle East. And then he did something that's really hard for a politician to do. He voluntarily gave up political power. And George Washington knew that, and he did it. And he set the standard for us serving 2 terms before it was mandatory. It helped his legacy, and it will enhance Joe Biden's legacy. And it's a stark contrast to what goes on in the other party. So I want to thank him for his courage, compassion, his class, his service, his sacrifice. Joe Biden, thank you. And he kept the faith, and he's infected a lot of the rest of us. Now let's cut to the chase. I am too old to gild the lily. 2 days ago, I turned 78, the oldest man in my family of 4 generations. And the only personal vanity I want to assert is I'm still younger than Donald Trump. Last night, in what I thought was a very moving series of episodes, we nominated Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And just think about that. 2 leaders with all-American but still improbable life stories. It could only happen here. Their careers, after all, started in community courtrooms and classrooms. 2 leaders who spent a lifetime getting the good job done. Now, one of the things that I've noticed over my increasingly long life is that a presidential election is unique in several ways. First of all, it's the greatest job interview for the greatest job in the world. Secondly, the Constitution says we, the people, get to do the hiring. And the third thing is that every 4 years, we get to change the requirements for the job. So here's what I'm thinking, because I try to apply this in every election. Will this president take us backward or forward? Will this president give our kids a brighter future? Depends. Will this president bring us together or tear us apart? Will the president increase the peace, security, and stability and freedom that we enjoy and extend it to others as we can? We, the people, we have to make a decision about these kind of questions. And every 4 years, it's a little different because the people come at the candidates, and they say, as they're saying now, here are our problems, solve them. Here are our opportunities, seize them. Here are our fears, ease them. Here are our dreams, help them come true. A president can answer that call by saying, I'll do my part, but you have to help me. We have to work together. Or you can dodge what needs to be done by dividing, distracting, and diverting us. So in 2024, we got a pretty clear choice, it seems to me. Kamala Harris for the people, and the other guy who's proved even more than the first go-around that he's about me, myself, and I. I know which one I like better for our country. Kamala Harris will work to solve our problems, seize our opportunities, ease our fears, and make sure every single American, however they vote, has a chance to chase their dreams. You know, when she was young, she worked at McDonald's. And she greeted every person with that 1,000-watt smile and said, "How can I help you?" Now she's at the pinnacle of power, and she's still asking, "How can I help you?" I'll be so happy when she actually enters the White House as president, because she will break my record as the president who spent the most time at McDonald's. Now, but we got an election to win. And remember, we've got a guy that's pretty good at what he does. Donald Trump has been a paragon of consistency. He's still dividing, he's still blaming, he's still belittling other people. He creates chaos, and then he sort of curates it as if it were precious art. Let me say, not a single day goes by, even though I've been gone for well over 23 years from the White House, not a day goes by that I don't thank the Lord for the chance I had to serve and what it meant. And one of the reasons, thank you. Wait. One of the reasons I love the job so much is that in the toughest times, even on the darkest days, if you tried hard enough, there was always something good you could do for somebody else. Now, some days that's not easy to do. You've got to deal with all these emergencies, or there's something going on here, there, or yonder. But Kamala Harris is the only candidate in this race who has the vision, the experience, the temperament, the will, and yes, the sheer joy to get something done. I mean, look, what does her opponent do with his voice? He mostly talks about himself, right? So the next time you hear him, don't count the lies. Count the eyes. Count the eyes. His vendettas, his vengeance, his complaints, his conspiracies. He's like one of those tenors opening up before he walks out on stage, like I did, trying to get his lungs open by singing, "Me, me, 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 me." When Kamala Harris is president, every day will begin with you, 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 you. So, we got to ask ourselves the questions if we're going to hire a president. Do you want to build a strong economy from the bottom up and the middle out? Or do you want to spend the next 4 years talking about crowd size? You're going to have a hard time believing this, but so help me, I triple-checked it. Since the end of the Cold War in 1989, America has created about 51 million new jobs. I swear I checked this 3 times. Even I couldn't believe it. What's the score? Democrats 50, Republicans 1. I'm glad that we've got a championship-winning coach on our team. But even the most limited of us in what we know about football or any other sport knows that if you're got 50 and the other side's got 1, you're ahead.
Of the universe. Help us to rise together in unity and love. The work ahead is monumental. We must heed our call to feed the hungry, heal the sick, and comfort all who suffer. We must conquer fear, injustice, and despair. Our great democracy's foundation and equality are being questioned once again. They're what our forefathers and mothers fought and died for. On farms and picket lines. They died in chains. They died for a better world. Beloved Creator is now on the line. In the months that remain, guide Vice President Harris and Governor Prayer. Set our hearts afire that we may never weary in your Son's name.
Our merciful benefactor, the Creator Redeemer, who opens the way to us to have a good conscience and life. Grant that we continue as a nation out of many one, a people of faith, taking pride in caring for our common humanity. Let us pray that this great nation inspire nations to advance social and economic progress. O God, make us among those who seek justice for all. O God, help us stand with humanity against hate. O God, bless us to approach each day with a feeling of gratitude and remembrance of you. Bless our homes and our schools. Bless us to never be without hope. Bless us in every decision, endeavor, and undertaking. Bless the efforts of the presidency to secure more opportunities for all in our great society. And finally, bless Americans to cherish our freedom and noble essence. Amen.
Amen.
Please remain standing for the presentation of colors by the Illinois State Police Honor Guard.
Detail, attention. Carry, colors. Forward, march. Left, 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 left. Colors, colors turn.
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Luna Mehring, 6th grader from Oakland, California.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Left, 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 left.
She's a fighter for the American people, committed to our values, our hopes, our dreams, bringing joy back across our nation.
It's about damn time. Turn up the music. Turn down the lights.
Where did this strength and passion come from in this daughter of middle-class Oakland? Well, it started with her parents, her mother, a South Asian scientist, and her father, a black economist. They took her to civil rights marches and inspired her to pursue her dreams. After her parents divorced, she and her sister were raised by her mother with the help of friends and neighbors, attending Sunday school at the 23rd Avenue Church.
We grew up in this wonderful, loving, supportive environment.
My mother was very well aware that she was raising two black girls to be two black women.
Her mother saved up for 10 years to buy their first home and shared with Kamala the words and wisdom that remain her North Star to this day.
Be a fighter for things that matter, and don't be limited by what has always been.
And then came a moment that changed Kamala Harris's destiny, that lit the fire within.
When I was in high school, I had a best friend who I learned was being molested by her father.
This particular day, she was like, hey, you really, really are not yourself. There's something going on.
I said to her as soon as she told me, well, you have to come stay with us.
As you get older, you really, really reflect on how pivotal that intervention was at that crucial point in my life.
A big part of the reason I wanted to be a prosecutor was to protect people like her.
And on her first day in court, she rose from her chair at the prosecutor's desk and said, Kamala Harris for the people. As a prosecutor, she put violent criminals and sexual predators in prison, leading to the highest conviction rate for serious and violent crime in 15 years, and created back on track a program for first-time low-level drug offenders that became a national model.
About, yeah, you did commit a crime, accept it, own up to it, and then let's talk about what we can do to change the circumstances going forward.
Lowering recidivism rates for nonviolent offenders from 54% to 10%, giving people the training they needed to find a job after their sentence.
I remember being so struck by having a district attorney who cared both about justice, about safety and accountability, but figuring out how to stop that crime from happening again.
As California's Attorney General, she targeted transnational gangs and drug cartels, seized 10,000 kilos of cocaine and 12,000 pounds of methamphetamine, went after drug traffickers, and took 12,000 illegal guns off the streets.
The new foreclosure crisis threatens to freeze up.
She took on the nation's 5 largest mortgage banks that were stealing from homeowners.
Prosecutors claim they've duped desperate homeowners into paying thousands of dollars to get them out of foreclosure.
She played hardball and delivered a landmark $20 billion settlement.
This represents one of the largest dollar amounts to come to California.
And in 2016, the people of California sent her to represent them in Washington, D.C. In the Senate, she earned a reputation for taking on the tough fights on the Judiciary and Intelligence Committees.
Kamala hit the ground running. She came in with confidence. She was always respectful, but she would not let a witness off easily.
I wouldn't.
Yes or no?
And if an argument didn't hold water, she could spot that flaw and get at it.
I do want you to be honest.
I'm not able to be rushed this fast. It makes me nervous.
And when Joe Biden went looking for his vice president,
I wanted someone who was strong and who was ready to be president on day one.
as vice president, she worked to cap insulin costs for seniors at $35, to replace lead pipes and provide clean water for communities, and she helped create 16 million world to strengthen our national security and restore our global leadership. Meeting with more than 150 heads of state, she stood shoulder to shoulder with our allies and stood up to dictators, helping to unite NATO behind Ukraine and impose punishing costs on Russia. She's led the fight for reproductive freedom.
We have worked too hard and fought too long to see our daughters grow up in a world with fewer rights than our mothers.
The first vice president to visit an abortion clinic, she built a nationwide grassroots movement to ensure that access to abortion, IVF, and birth control will always be protected. In the halls of power, she's a tough prosecutor, an effective policymaker, a powerful leader. And at home, she's the center of her family.
I'm not giving up.
She's the best godmother, auntie. She's honest, she's loving, incredibly reliable. She's one of the most loyal people you'll ever meet.
That is why I believe she is so prepared to be our next president. This love she has for her family, being there for all of us, that's how she will lead this country, being there for everyone.
She's a proud graduate of Harvard University.
Hey, you know?
Her campaign is a force of nature, generating the excitement we've all been yearning for.
A campaign of joy, of love, of care.
I am so fundamentally inspired.
Kamala Harris will be our next president because you know there's too much on the line to stay on the sidelines.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Thank you for bringing back the joy.
Sometimes people will open the door for you and leave it open. Sometimes they won't. And then you need to kick that door down. We are not going back.
She's a protector, a strong voice for common sense, a leader for tomorrow, committed to healing our country, dedicated to doing the hard work to make us stronger.
I now declare you spouses for life.
Someone who truly understands the struggles of everyday Americans, forged by the challenges of the past, ready for any challenge that may arise. Now is the time, America. The joy is back, the pride is back, the hope is back. She's doing the work. She's fighting for us. She's the new way forward, our way forward. She is the next President of the United States of America, Kamala Harris.
Wow. Bienvenidos todos to the final night of the Democratic National Convention. We have so much in store for all of you tonight, including a special rendition of our national anthem by our favorite country music rabble-rousers, the Chicks. And I just want to say, this week, our energy, hope, and joy have inspired the nation. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has been a small man, speaking in small venues, talking about small ideas. Our ideas, our vision for America brings us together. Our vision for America embraces every community and everyone. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are working hard because they know our country is great. They know that we can build a future for all of us, and they're earning our votes by laying out a plan that puts the American dream not just within reach, but so we can fully grasp it. By making sure going to the grocery store doesn't break the bank, that we have control over our bodies, that our kids like my own kids, Christian and Eloisa, have opportunities to lead healthy and happy lives. We'll get to know Kamala a little more, and I promise you, you will not only be more inspired, but also ready to fight for a new way forward. And to keep us pumped for this journey, Chicago's very own DJ Metro. Over to you.
Chicago, how's everybody feeling out there today? Welcome to night 4 of the Democratic National Convention. I know you all are having so much fun out there, is that correct? Well, there's only one thing left to do, and that's to make sure that the fun continues right here, right now, the only way that I know how. The Chicago way, baby. Y'all ready? Let's go. Thank you.
You my little boo thing, so I'll give a hoop what you do. Say, girl, I know you're a little too tame. I'll be shooting that shot like a too girl. No, tell him I'm next. Tell him you find a lot of something fresh. No, tell him I'm next. Tell him you find a little something fresh. I know. Put a little gold in the teeth and the fit good, so I took the doors out the deep. Okay, I see a brother holding you foot, no beef, but I'm trying to get to know you at least. Don't take my talking to you around. I can keep it chill like the Soviet blunt. I'ma keep it real when your man long gone. If you're looking for a friend,
everybody hands up, hands up.
What's good? What's with you? If you tonight, that's fiction. I'm outside, no pictures. You want me, go figure. To the back, to the front. You a 10, baby girl, but I know why. Hey, to the back,
one time,
to the front.
everybody,
You a 10,
hands
baby
up
girl,
in the
but I
air,
know why.
let's go.
You my little boo thing, so I'll give a hoot what you do, say girl, I know. You a little too tame, I'll be shooting that shot like 2K, girl, I know. Tell 'em I'm next, tell 'em you find a little something too fresh, I know. Tell 'em I'm next, tell 'em you find a little.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Please welcome National Education Association President Becky Pringle and American Federation of Teachers President Randy Weingarten.
I am Becky Pringle, President of the largest labor union in this country, the National Education Association. As an 8th grade science teacher for over 30 years, I can tell you that Kamala Harris and teacher Tim Walz understand when our public schools are strong, our nation is strong. They know expanding free school meals, investing in healthcare, and keeping our communities and our schools safe creates opportunity for everyone. They will strengthen our schools, support our educators, and help our students live into their brilliance. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are not just wrong, they're dangerous. It's all right there in Project 2025. They will shut down the Department of Education, end Head Start, and make educators pay a higher percentage in taxes than billionaires. But we are coming together to say, not on our watch. Not on our watch. So we will organize, and we will mobilize, and we will win all the things. So come this January, we will have a president who sees us, who believes in us, and who knows the beauty and the power of this diverse democracy. And her name is Kamala Harris.
I'm Randy Weingarten, the president of the AFT and a public school teacher. One of my first lessons I taught my students was about the social contract, how both individual freedoms and mutual responsibility are essential in our democracy. This covenant underlies our commitment to public schools, where educators prepare students to spark innovations, steward the environment, create our arts, and shape our democracy. Now, one of the first lessons my students taught me was, you gotta walk the walk. That means Donald Trump and J.D. Vance can't claim they're pro-child while gutting funding for public schools. That means that being pro-family means we support access to good union jobs, affordable housing, health care, and higher education. That's what Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are fighting for, and we are all in. They have spent their lives making the promise of America real in the classroom and the courtroom. America, with Kamala Harris as our president, our best days are ahead.
Please welcome California Senator Alex Padilla.
Good evening, Democrats. Buenas noches, demócratas. My name is Alex Padilla, and I am so proud to represent the great state of California in the United States Senate. But the titles I'm most proud of are husband to my beautiful wife, Angela, and father to 3 young gentlemen. You know, as a father, when we talk about the future of our country, it's not just hypothetical. For me, it is very real. Every day I go to work in Washington, I think about my kids and the future we're building for their generation. And to show you how Kamala Harris will treat America's kids as president, I'll tell you how she treats mine. Because whenever she sees Roman, Alejandro, and Diego, she greets them with kindness and respect, literally meeting them on their level, to speak to them and to listen. And every fight that Kamala and I have taken on together has been about making life better for this generation and the next. As a state senator, I stood with then Attorney General Harris as she took on the big banks to keep kids and their families in their homes. As California's Secretary of State, I knew her as a fearless United States Senator and my partner in defending our sacred right to vote. That's right. And when Kamala became vice president, I was honored to fill her seat. But I knew that I had some big Chuck Taylors to fill. But I was proud to carry on legislation that she championed to protect workers, to safeguard public lands, to provide kids with more access to quality education. You see, Kamala and I believe that all of our kids deserve a shot at the American dream. It's the American dream, after all, that brought my parents to the United States decades ago. Es cierto. Mis padres, Santos y Guadalupe Padilla, vinieron a los Estados Unidos en busca del sueño americano. But today, we know that the dream is out of reach for far too many families. So my question for all of you tonight is this. This November, who's ready to defend the dream? ¿Quién está listo a defender el sueño americano? Tim Walz is ready to defend the dream. Kamala Harris will defend the dream. And between now and Election Day, each of us must defend the dream too, by working to elect them as Vice President and President of the United States of America. So I want to thank you. May God bless you. Now let's go win this thing.
For families across our nation, the American dream starts at the same place, the place we call home. A home is more than four walls and a roof. It's the foundation of everything we hope for, the bedrock from which we build our own American dreams and write our own American stories. To share Kamala's vision to give more Americans a place to call home, please welcome former Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Marcia Fudge.
OH. Kamala Harris has fought to protect homeowners and renters her entire career. As Attorney General, she held big banks accountable for their role in the foreclosure crisis and won billions of dollars for California homeowners. As Vice President, she and President Biden helped over 400,000 homeowners at the risk of foreclosure during the pandemic. And as President, she will build 3 million new homes and rentals, limit unfair rent increases, and offer down payment support for first-time home buyers. It's personal. Kamala remembers her mother's pride at buying their first home after saving for 10 years. She knows housing is a human right and a pathway to the middle class. Where you live determines what schools your children go to, what health care you receive, and whether you can get a good job without spending hours commuting. Where you live too often determines how you live. Donald Trump has no idea how housing works for everyday Americans. He doesn't care. He started his career being sued for denying housing to Black families. As president, he sat by while the cost of housing skyrocketed. Now, we can hand the keys to our housing policy back to a negligent landlord, or we can elect a president who believes in safe, affordable housing for all. Let's ensure we have an opportunity economy by voting for Kamala Harris. Thank you.
Don't know why, but I feel like freedom.
I'm Matt, and I'm a former Trump voter.
Hi, my name is Dave from Pennsylvania. I'm a two-time Trump voter, 2016 and 2020.
I voted for Trump before, but I'm not going to do that again. I think his agenda has really been awful for America.
He doesn't care about ordinary people. He's never been one, never known any.
I'm extremely worried about Donald Trump getting into the White House again.
People are working. All these people who weren't working under the Trump administration, they now have jobs.
One thing I like about Kamala